The first thing I want to do is to congratulate you for attending the course and staying to the end. Those are two different things. There are people who start and they don't actually finish. So those who are graduating meant they kept at it to the end. That's one of the things Jesus taught us, because he came to die. And the devil tempted him in every way not to wait to the end. But he went on until he said, it is finished. And I'm sure one of the many things you have learned is that when you identify your calling, that it will be important that you stay in that calling the time the Lord wants you to stay in that calling. And so that's the first thing, to really appreciate you for agreeing to go through the training to the end. The second thing I'm going to say is that the training will not be very useful until you implement it. So that in the end, the real check at whether the training worked will be at the judgment seat, when the Lord will hold you accountable for the time he gave you opportunity to learn, and then he will ask you, what did you do with it? And that is described in Matthew chapter 25. There is a time of reckoning coming. The story of the talents is of him giving talents to 3 different people, but one of them did not do much with it, and obviously he is condemned. For this graduating class, whereas I congratulate you, number one, for staying to the end, you now need to understand that by graduating, you have just gotten yourself a new asset, training. And what you do with it, that talent, one day, after a long time, the master will come back, and you'll want to see results out of what you have actually done with it. So how is this training going to change the way you relate with your family? How is this training going to relate to help you in how you relate in your workplace? How is this training going to help extend God's kingdom on earth? And the answer to those 3 questions will be part of the assessment as to whether the training worked or helped you in any way. I want to repeat something that you are likely to have gone through in the course, and which is important for us. I'm reading the book of Colossians chapter 3, and I'm reading about the workers, the slaves. Here they are called slaves because they are, but we are talking about professionals. These slaves were people trained to do certain things. And so let's ignore the word slave, talk about professionals. And they are told several things in this passage from verse 22 to 25. Number 1, obey your earthly masters in everything, and do it not only when their eyes are on you and to carry their favor, but with sincerity of heart and reverence for the Lord. So the first thing you are learning as you graduate, after those 2 things I said, and that will help you to score well at the end of life journey, is learning how to relate with supervisors. Because the word of God is saying you must have good relationship with supervisors. You cannot be a professional who is going to impact people for Christ if you don't know how to relate well with your supervisors. And when I talk about supervisors, you will be an entrepreneur. So your supervisors will be your clients. The kind of product you are giving, the feedback they give you, and whether they get value for money for the items that you are actually selling. Whoever it is that benefits from your service, from your professional acumen, God is saying you must obey them, or rather do what is pleasing to them in everything. Not in some things, but in everything. And I think that's something that we all need to do. If we want people to be attracted to God's kingdom, then we cannot be the difficult worker, the difficult supplier, the difficult whatever your job is. We must be people that know how to live with others. And although they will not like us because of our faith, especially if you are working for a non-Christian, they will know you are trustworthy and the job you do it well, and that you respect them. You witness to them, you tell them about God, but you respect them and you respect your job. And I pray that that will be true wherever you go. You will not be regarded as a difficult person. You will be known by the guy who witnesses, but the guy who also does work well with the master. Number 2, they were told they must not do work because they are being supervised. One of the things every person wants is a person who does not require being supervised. I have led a busy life, and one of the things that I have never really understood is the idea of me taking my car to a mechanic, and then I sit there, and it's taking 2-3 hours, but if I move away, they will not repair my car, or if I move away, they will change parts. I really have to drop such a mechanic immediately, because that's waste of my time. So we are looking for people who don't do well because they are being supervised. It's their nature to do well. When I used to be a manager in Kisumu, and I had a depot to look after, I told Securica, who are looking after our depot at night, do not give me a watchman who smokes. Of course, that would be very dangerous in a petroleum depot. Look among your watchmen and give me someone who will not need to be told to stop smoking. He doesn't smoke. So there's no need of supervising or checking. He can never smoke because he's not a smoker. And that's what we are being encouraged by Jesus to do. We should not work because you are being supervised. Once you agree with your supervisor or with your client what it is you need to do, they can disappear and come when you have told them to come, and they'll get their product. They can disappear and you'll give them a completed task. Your boss, you just say, this is the report. He doesn't have to supervise you, does not have to micromanage you. And we need to understand this is Paul teaching us what is expected of a Christian professional. And it will be important to understand that that is very important. And I can tell you, if you're a business person and you are the kind of person who does not have to be supervised, clients will come one after the other. Nobody wants to waste their time by supervising you. They also have their own work. And that's what he is saying. You don't do something to carry their favor. You work from the sincerity of heart because you are reverencing the Lord. Then verse 23 says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. So, and here the third point we are saying is, don't be good at some things and not others. Because you see, unfortunately, every career, and I finished the university in the mid-70s, and I still do consultancy work. But there's no task I've ever done, even now in consultancy, which doesn't have items I don't like. I like certain aspects, but I don't like other aspects. Some of us enjoy field work, but you don't like writing reports. But then surely, you are the one who went to the field. You are the only one who can write the reports about what you found. So you have to do what you like and what you don't like. Here the word of God is telling us, whatever you do, it doesn't matter whether it's the one you enjoy or the one you don't enjoy. You must work at it with all your heart. And I think that will be something you do, because some people are good in one area and not another. They are committed to one thing, but you can't trust them in other areas. Here, the word of God is encouraging us to know that the work you are doing is whatever. And whatever you do, you must work at it with all your heart. But then the verse 24 is saying, since you know that you receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. What I'm saying, the next thing is work for God. And I think this introduces now something very interesting. We have always assumed that pastors and missionaries and whatever are the people that are working for the Lord. Paul says even slaves cleaning houses, even farmers, even clerks do not see themselves as working for man. They are supposed to see themselves as working for the Lord. And that's what removes this idea called secular versus spiritual work. You know, me, I'm in secular employment. Oh, me, I'm in sacred. It doesn't exist. Paul removes it. He tells the slaves, what you are doing is serving the Lord. You know that you receive the inheritance from the Lord. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. And remember, I remind you, these people are not doing at all anything to do with preaching. They are not. Their employment is not in preaching. Their employment is to do the things that are required in that household. And they are being told, please remember, you are a cook in that home. That cooking, you are not cooking for your master here on earth. You are cooking for the Lord. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. Unfortunately, this is written in the Bible, but very few of us are in that. You'll find somebody on the weekend, he is very busy preaching and serious. Why? I'm serving the Lord. On Monday, he is dozing in his office. He is doing short work. Why? This is my work. Jesus is saying, you don't have any work. You are a steward. All your hours are supposed to be used to serve the Lord. And I pray that this training has brought you to where you understand there is no such a thing as sacred and secular. Or the moment you are a Christian, everything you do is sacred. I repeat what I read. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. That makes it sacred. You don't have anything. And remember the word he has used in verse 23 is whatever. That means what you do at home, what you do at work, what you do in church, all of that is whatever. Must be done for Christ. And I pray that out of this training, you have understood there is now some things you can do carelessly because you are doing for yourself, or carelessly because you are doing for your mother, or carelessly because after all the employer does not pay you a lot of money. Don't you hear what Paul is saying? It's not, you are not doing it to please your master. Your master may be lazy, your master may be crude, your master may not even be doing the right thing. He may be the kind of a person you are looking forward to resigning. But until you resign, when you are there, remember, the word of God is telling you, you know you will receive a reward. He is paying you a very low salary. He's not even increasing it. But you are beyond your other salary. You are going to receive an inheritance as a reward because it is the Lord you are actually serving. I finish with verse 25. Anyone who does wrong will be paid for their wrongs, and there is no favoritism. In other words, as a professional, please remember your boss may never discover that you have been shoddy. Your customer may accept the goods and pay you. But the Lord who sees in secret is saying he'll reward you or punish you on the basis of whether you are a good or a bad steward. And there is no favoritism. What does that mean? In Swahili we say, amenionea. No. Christ is a just judge and will do it. So it's my prayer and hope that you are going to come out of this training and become the kind of a person who has three bottom lines. Number one, wherever you work, whether you're working for yourself or you're running a business, you are always going to produce good service or good product. Number two, that you produce something that benefits whoever is the investor, and that's important. But number three, that wherever you go, the people you work with, your clients or stakeholders will be left knowing about Christ. That you will see your job is doing what is on the job description. Beyond that, you also see yourself as preaching. Because preaching is not just going out for missions is the way you work. Because the moment, and I'm sure you have gone through it in the training, how you work will give you the right to be heard by the customer. And now you can tell the customer about the Jesus who makes you work well. You can tell your boss about the Jesus who makes you trustworthy. Thank you very much. My 15 minutes are over. May the Lord bless you.
The recording has stopped.